another wonderful episode in Making Clay with Alan Keck. We may have met already because I've done a few of these videos already for beginners. And we've done cylinders, and we've taken a cylinder in and created jugs out of them, like these forms. And we had some fun doing that. And this was the last type of form we did. Nice thin walls, round form, collared in the neck. This time we're going to do something, just break out of the mold a little bit, do something a little bit more fun. And so we're scaling up. We're going from 4 pounds of clay up to over 17 pounds of clay. And the plan is, this is going to be the bottom half of a tall sectional form. So, starting out with 17 pounds of clay, I'm throwing on a bat so I can move the piece on and off the wheel. And I don't know how far we'll get today. We probably might just get the bottom half done and throw the top half on the next exciting episode.
You want to turn it to landscape mode because we're doing it for YouTube.
So, we're going to get started here. I wedged up this clay. That about took it out of me right there. I almost had to quit and wait till next week. But I managed to catch my breath and it's ready to go on the wheel. I wedged it in very similar to what it's going to look like when it's centered, just scale size. And since I'm going to throw tall, I want to center it as tall as I can. Now, I haven't put it down yet, so now I need to go down firm and try to get it in the middle. Which I didn't do too bad. I've done worse. But I'm going to have to move it around a little, so I might as well do some moving now. Okay. We've all got certain things in common when we sit down on a pottery wheel. I've already talked about most of those things in earlier lessons. But the important thing is, that thing that you and I both have in common is we want to make something from nothing with our own hands and our mind and our heart. And another thing we have in common is, when I sit down on the wheel, and I bet you're the same way, I've got high hopes for a fun day, right? And this is always therapy for me. So no matter what, I'm going to feel better because I'm going to make some magic. So here we go. I adjusted up this wheel so that it's able to handle a large amount of clay, and it hasn't been adjusted in a long time. So hopefully that's going to work out. And we're going to get started. I'm going to center this the very same technique I used to center a small ball of clay. Well, I'm going to do everything just the same way with a big ball of clay. So here we go. First thing we got to do is start to make friends with clay and feel that water's right. Is that new water?
No. You want me to get new water?
It's pretty sticky.
Okay. I'm good.
So I'm feeling all the bumps in this clay right now. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on it. So I'm feeling, making that tactile connection and feeling all the areas where I need to put more pressure and less pressure.
It does stick. It's right there.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Turn it off.
So I'm pressing down here on top, rolling it over
right
the edge. I'm keeping my elbows in close, and I'm able to lean in, and I'm putting more pressure right here on both hands to try to get this moved to the middle. The fact that it's larger means I got to keep my elbows in closer so I can use my upper body. And I'm just slowly going to move in on it. And as I go down, I'm going to slow down when it's bumping.
Are you centering one section at a time?
This is, the other section will be thrown separately.
Oh no, I mean the whole wedge because your hand doesn't fit the entire.
Well, yeah, I'm working up and down right now to get it to the middle of the wheel head. And I'm pushing it in because I want to keep it narrow because I'm trying to throw something tall. So I don't want it to spread out wide on me. So I'm getting out here and I'm pushing it from the outside now. And I'm constantly feeling for where the extra weight is, how it's shifting. And I'm aware of how I move the clay a little bit each time. It's getting closer and closer to the center. I'm going to push on in some more, make it narrower. And I'm using this part right here, mostly. So it's focused, going under, braced on my knees. It's almost just like coloring in clay. And you'll notice it's getting a little taller. So, I'm creating this volcano look up here. I don't mind too much because it's pretty well centered. So I'm just keeping that centered where my hole's going to be. Okay. I'm going to try to push this in a little bit narrower. Yeah. And this part takes strength. And I don't have that in abundance anymore. But every time I push it in, it gets a little narrower, gets a little taller, and my hole gets a little deeper. So I got to watch the key, see that it stays centered. Now you can see down here that it's off a little bit. So instead of trying to come down here and spend a lot of time centering it, I'm going to trim it. So I just trim that off with my finger. Okay, now I'm going to put the finish on it. To do that, I'm going to scoot back. Got to get my profile down a little. I'm going to place my left hand on the top, just like I do when I'm centering a small ball of clay. I'm going to place my hand here. I'm going to press in, and I'm going to create a little ridge right here. And then I'm going to drop my leg, and I'm going to slide right down my arm, down to the bottom, put the finish on it. I mean, it's really centered now, but I'm going to get it a little bit better. So you can see that ridge. Now, I'm just sliding my hand right down my arm, turning my wrist a little, and running that ridge all the way down. I'm coming back up a little. Now, I'm going to trim this off. Now, that may not be centered perfect. It's good enough. So, I'm ready to move on. My hole's a little bit wobbly right here. I want to fix that before I go any further. So in order to fix that, I'm going to place my left hand on the side like this. I'm going to place my right hand over the top like that, and I'm going to work on the opposite side of the wheel that I normally work on. I'm going to lock my thumb, and I'm going to squeeze just a little bit and hold my hand. When I first start to squeeze, my hand's going to want to do this, but I'm going to squeeze just a little and hold it steady until it runs smooth. So right there, it's moving a little, pushing in, I'm braced here, pushing in, now pull back just a little, holding it very steady until it's running perfectly smooth on the inside. It's all centered out here, right? Smooth on the inside. So there's just enough water in there to go all the rest of the way down. My left hand's going to be in the shape of a U. I'm going to run my hand over the top, and this is going to keep my hands connected. That completes the circuit. like an electrical circuit of the feeling, tactile feeling from here going through your brain back down to the other hand, and your hands are communicating with each other here. So as I go down, I'm not pushing in here, I'm just keeping it as a guide, a cradle. My long finger, my middle finger, is drilling the hole with a little bit of backward pressure. And I want to drill a good straight hole. I don't want to go down so far with my little finger out. But if I feel it starting to do this, you gotta stop. Straighten it out. Then go on down. Otherwise, you're just going to make it worse, especially on a big piece of clay. So, whole hand goes in now, curls my fingers, and I'm keeping in here tight with my elbow so I'm strong. Now, I'm going to run that all down right in the middle.
Are you still drilling with your middle finger and
Yep.
then just following with the rest?
Drilling with my middle finger.
Are your
And
fingers?
my fingers are twisted.
Okay.
It kind of hurts. It used to not hurt, but the arthritis is in there now. After so many years of going pot. So that went off on me a little. So I'm going to go down, pressure like this, push back on it, and I'm going to straighten it out right now. There. So I got to go a little bit deeper. So my thumb's going to have to go on the inside too. Now I don't have as good a communication from the inside hand to the outside hand. I've got to be careful. Hear how smooth that wheel's running?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, music to my ears. Music to my ears. I can't believe I said that without music. Got to go a little bit deeper.
There you go.
Sure, got to go a little bit deeper.
I'm sure you want yours.
Yeah. Any needle tool right now will set me free. Okay. Now I'm going to stick my needle tool through, see how thick it is. Oh, that's not bad. I don't want to go any thinner, that's for sure. Okay. So here we are. The key move here to making tall, thin pots that aren't real thick at the bottom is to make the donut. It's the same with this form as it is with a small mold plate. We've got to make this form where curl our fingers back and it makes this form here that feels like you got a donut in your hand. We're going to do the same thing here, only it's not going to feel like a donut, but we're going to spread the bottom back and it's going to bulge out. But it's too tall to feel like a donut.
I'm just going to create a groove and then start pulling.
Turn back and I'm going to have a flat, wide bottom.
Just
Okay.
the bottom.
Do you make an indentation on the outside also, Keck, or is it just on the inside?
Well, on the outside, I've got to have something to get resistance. So that's going to be my left hand.
But you don't indent it on the outside. You just pull it up from the inside.
Pushing against it. Now, this is again one of the few times when I move to the left-hand side of the wheel. Because when you're on this side of the wheel, you're not creating as much friction because it's turning away from it. So it's slippery and it's turning away from it. When you're on this side of the wheel, you create more friction. It's turning into you, and it wants to grab your fingers and curl them and curl them and catch your fingers, you know. So you got to be careful. But on this side of the wheel, it's providing more friction and more resistance. It just gives you a little bit more force you can use so you can manipulate the clay. I don't know if I'm explaining that very good.
I got it.
Okay, all the way down to the bottom. I'm pushing back here to see where I'm braced. And I'm pushing back like that. and I'm coming up. So actually right now I'm kind of making a pull, only it's on the other side of the wheel, backwards.
Where's your inside hand compared to your outside hand? Are they directly? Okay.
Pushing here.
And you're using the palm
Now
of your
you can
hand.
have a look at that in there. See how it goes wide at the bottom?
Mhm.
Then it bulges out here. That's very, very similar to making the donut, only larger. Okay, so here we go. Now when I did that, it made it go out of center a little bit. So I'm going to try to send that back up. I'm going to curl my fingers now and use my fist.
Mm. And again, you're doing it on the opposite side of the.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to get that straightened out as much as I can.
Are you still in a fist?
Yeah. Alright. So it's still out some, but I'm going to color it in. And that's going to bring it back into center. And when I pull it, that's also going to bring it back into center. So, let's slow the wheel down. And see what this thing feels like when I'm sitting down pulling. So, hand goes all the way in and placed here. Heading straight across from each other, pushing in,
You're down on the other side.
down back to the proper side of the wheel. And now I'm making a pull, steady, smooth, up, and in. Bring my thumb out. Finish the pull.
Another side.
Anytime I can bring my thumb out and touch, it's going to make it steadier. Okay, so
You're also cutting the clay on the outside, you notice.
what?
You're cutting the clay, but there's chunks coming off.
That's slip.
Oh, that's split.
Yeah.
It's pretty thick. That's great.
See
I thought
that?
it was just clay. Yeah. Oh,
That's,
amazing.
that's slip coming off from the pressure I'm putting on. So right down here, I'm going to trim this back off because I'm going to start my pulls right at the bottom. Now, you see these throw rings?
Yeah.
That's just what I want. I'm going to try to color it in some more because I want to keep it as narrow as I can. But you can see what this thing was about that high, almost double the height of it with that pull. Right? It won't be that much from here on out. But I'm going to color it as much as possible.
Is there a reason you slowed it down so much to color it?
Because I'm moving up slowly. In fact, probably too slowly. Should be getting taller now.
Yes, it is.
Curl my fingers over the top so it doesn't ripple up on me. Squeezed out an air bubble in there, and I might as well take care of it. Okay. Get this wheel adjusted very nice.
Good.
So I'm sticking a hole all the way through. I'm going to push the air from the inside to the outside. And when I do that, it's going to bulge it a little right here. And when I'm pushing it out, I'm getting all that air out. Then I'm going to push it back in. And now there's probably still just a tiny bit of air in there, but not much. Okay, so there's certain things, certain indicators that tell me how well I'm doing, if I'm doing a good job. So if you get this far and you're still running smooth here,
Yeah.
and it's not way off, and then you're probably doing a good job on that pot. I'm going to color it in down here. Okay, now I've got to move it slower because I'm going to stand up and pull. When we stand up and pull, it can be hard on your back if you do it wrong. Slow down. Okay. Now, you need to really pay attention to where my body is, where my knees are, the squareness of my shoulders, where my arms are hanging right straight down. This is what we do not want to do. We do not want to be back here bending over and doing this. We don't want to do that. We want to move right in close. And I'm kind of restricted from my apron here. Move in close, bend your knees, get right over the top. Straight down into the shoulder. So my shoulder, right straight down. I'm going to roll my finger so that it's right across like that. So my curled finger on the outside and this finger on the inside kind of match up. And then when I put pressure on, I'm going to be down like this, bending at the knees. My back is pretty straight. And I'm just going to stand up. My arms are going to stay right where they are. I'm going to stand up as far as I can, and then I'm going to pull the rest of the way. Okay, here we go. Bend the knees, arm right straight down. I'm directly over the top. I hope this doesn't get away. Okay. Come on up. I'm just standing up with my knees. My arms are standing in the same place. Still with my knees. Now I've stood up. Now I'm coming on up with my arms.
Bending your elbows now.
But my knees are braced. My back is straight. And I have to tell you, I'm throwing as good as I did 30 years ago at the moment. I feel pretty good about that. What is that, my second, third pull? Okay, so I've got a nice straight cylinder going here. Keeping it colored in. I haven't had to cut the top. Everything's running centered with nice even throw rings. See how steady they are? That's a nice steady pull. That pull is synchronized with the speed going up the pot, synchronized with the speed the wheel is turning. That's a big part of it. All right. Now, we need to know how thick this thing is. So right down there, it's still that thick. Clay's getting pretty soft. As you can see, I throw wet. And that's because when I was making pots for a living, I was making 40 or 50 pots a day. And I threw wet and fast. And so I was making traps, right? So my clay does tend to get softened up. There's times when I have to stop, get the slip off of it, and hit it with the blow dryer, just to stiffen it up. Right? We'll see what happens here. So I gotta get my wheel going. I'm gonna have it going pretty slow, and I'm not really ready to form this yet. I'd like to get it thinner. But we'll see.
Is it about that thickness all the way down? What it is at the top?
It's about like that down about here.
Okay.
Down here it's still thick. I'd like to get that up, but I'm a little worried about my apron. So when you want to direct clay to a particular place, you put your hand there, let it run down your hand, put the water right where you want it. You do that on the inside too. Alright, here we go. Moving in close, bend the knees right straight over the top. I'm putting a lot of pressure on now. See it wobbling? Can't worry about that. I gotta worry about up here where I'm at. So, you're thinking, man, it's gonna collapse. Yeah, wow. No, you're almost right. So, very gently come down here and get everything straightened back out. Like that. Went in with my hand like this and like that, so that they were sandwiched together evenly, parallel. And then brought it up slowly, and made the clay conform to my will, basically. Okay, now you can see on that pole, put on some serious pressure, because I don't have very many poles left in it, because it's kind of soft. So I wanted to get as much as I could then. It's still thick here. Down here, that's okay, because I need to have that extra weight out here to hold up all this weight that's on top of it. That'll be trimmed off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and form this the rest of the way. And push my arm for a little longer. So I put it down here, and when I'm forming it, I'm pulling it. start here, pull it again, and form it. Okay, I can see from here that I need some work there, a little bit here. Normally I would say you need to get at least 10 feet away from your piece to really be able to see the form. I've looked at enough forms where I know what this looks like. And it's too much of a hassle to get out to really look, so I'm winging it. But I've got all the bulge that I want down here, and this is going to be trimmed off to where that's going to go under to a nice narrow base. I want to round this off a little bit more, and I've got to be thinking the whole time, this is the bottom half, or a little bit more than half of the form I'm doing. So when I put the top form on it, it's going to be this tall. So I need to be keeping in mind now what the bottom part of this should look like and what the top part's going to look like. And how they're going to look when they're transitioning from one part to the other. Got to be thinking about all that all the time. I started out with my thinking with a piece of paper, making sketches and drawings of the form that I want. Okay, let's go on. Now I'm going to come right down here. I'm going to bulge it just a little bit more right there. Now, it's important that you know that when you're forming the piece, my hands are here. My inside hand is straight across from the outside hand. I'm forming it back here, but I can't see because my hands are in the way. So I'm forming it here, but I'm watching the contour right there to see the effect that I'm having with my hands. So when I'm doing this, I'm watching there. So I just want to make it a little bit rounder. My outside fingers are laying on it very, very gently just to keep things from getting pushed out of center. But my inside hand has to allow the outside hand has to allow the inside hand to press the clay out, if that's what you want to do with it. That's what I want to do. So, I think I've got a pretty nice curve right here. I might as well find out. I think it is. So I'll know when I'm going to trim it. Bigger pots, you have to do a little bit of trimming. But right here, it's only that thick. Right? And that's right here. Down here, it is that thick. That's not bad. This big of a pot. And the rest of it down there, I'm going to be trimming that fat off, because that's got to be there to hold the weight up. That'll be trimmed off. So, hey, I'm happy with the form. I'm happy with the thickness. And I got to finish the top. Now I have to finish the top so that it's ready to accept the top half of this large bottle. This is going to be a long-necked bottle, is the title of the form. And Evie and I are collaborating on this piece. And I'm making a piece that's very vertical and lengthy, right? So she's going to do some carving and some design work on it. And I'm not sure what she's going to do. I assume that she's going to work with the form in some way or another, so it all makes sense. But I have confidence that she's going to do something cool with it. And I'm having fun demonstrating it. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to finish this form off, get it ready for the bottom piece. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to open it up a little bit more. I want to use all the height that I've got. So I'm going to bulge it a little bit higher. Right here. See what flattened right there? That's where I'm going to come back down. Okay. Gonna do some finger pulls up here to thin this collar. The extra weight of that thick clay of the collar kind of throws everything off. Okay, now some people who really don't have much experience with it, I guess, think that you're gonna throw your top piece and you're gonna join it on here, butt in, right? No, we do not want to do that. We got to give ourselves more space to score and slip and bond the top piece to the bottom piece. Now the way we're going to do that is I'm going to come back in here, do a little bit more with it even. And pull this some more. Okay, I don't want to be getting a bunch of water and slip on the inside of this pot, so I'm getting it out now. And I won't try to get, try not to get too much back in. I wanted to go in when the mouth was wide, so my arm would be able to get it out. Okay, here we go. This part's very delicate work. Can't get any pressure going down. All the pressure's got to be in and out. And you don't want it to be sticking. And I got to work on this form up here. And this is maybe the most delicate part of the whole thing. The clay is thin, wet, and large. Another finger pull up here. We get a little thinner, a good place to cut. That's plenty thin. Okay, so here's the lesson in putting two pieces together. We want to get as much space as possible to attach the two pieces. If we attach them butt end to butt end, we're only attaching that much. I'm going to roll the top in to give myself this much space to attach the top piece to. So it's going to look like this. And roll it in. Come back in here, finish my form. Okay, now this form's not right. I don't like the way it flattens out right there. I want it to be a little better on this curved transition, to be a little fatter right here. But it's just too weak right now. So I'm going to have to blow dry this to stiffen it up just enough. I'll get the slip off of it so it'll stiffen up quickly. I'm going to have this stiffen up just enough so I can come in here and change the form from there to there. This part, however, that's where I'm going to attach the part that goes on below it. See where it wants to wobble and collapse right there if I mess with it? That's why I got to hit it with the blow dryer. But now I've got this much section to put my next piece on for the top. I got to blow dry this first. So that's where we are on the bottom half of the sectional pot. And I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I feel like I made a little bit of magic today, and whoa! I feel good, and I knew that I would. See you next time. Tell your friends and neighbors. Come on and have a look and see what they think. Subscribe to my channel, and come back next time. Look forward to seeing you. I'm Kecker. That's what my buddies call me. Over and out. Okay, so I'm very, very lightly, gently taking a very soft rib and getting the slip off of the piece. The reason I want to get the slip off the piece is so when I hit it with the blow dryer, it'll stiffen up much, much faster. If it has to dry the slip too, it takes you 2 or 3 times longer to stiffen up a piece. So I'm just doing enough to take just enough slip off the outside. And this is so wet up here that I'm still not messing with it. I'm just keeping it up there so when it stiffens up, I'll get it all straightened out real good. That is so floppy, I don't even want to touch it. So, and I've just got a little bit of form to do here, but I just got to stiffen it up first. So,